And welcome to episode Who Gives a Fuck, because this is the Dare special on the Filmmakers Podcast.
Bedtime.
No! Jess, you seen the keys?
Baby, give me your hand. Stay there.
Welcome to paradise.
What is this place?
Want to hang with us?
Just needs to pass the dare.
All you have to do is go inside.
This is your home now. Understand? You'll grow big and strong, just like him. Some of us need to have the evil taken out. And the only way to take the bad out is through pain.
What's with the lights?
Well, it ain't Christmas.
What, so he warns you before he tortures you?
Well, it's not him. He does the torturing.
I'm getting out of here.
You have to do what he says.
He'll go for our families.
We can escape. We just need to be clever. Life's all about choices. When you gotten a choice, you got enough.
Hello, everyone. This is a podcast where we talk filmmaking from indie film to studio films and everything in between. How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try to F it up. In our very, very humble opinion, I am Giles Alderson. I am a writer, director, producer, and recently I have directed Arthur and Merlin, Knights of Camelot, and I produce A Serial Killer's Guide to Life. And I'm the co-writer and the director of The Dare. And joining me today for this Dare special is also the co-writer. He's not only a co-writer of The Dare, but also Arthur and Merlin as well. He's also written many, many other amazing screenplays, of which we can't talk about. But he has got amazing hair, which you can't see because he's put himself on no video. And he has a great off-and goatee. It is the fantastic Jonny Grant!
Can't talk about amazing hair when Andy's the guy with the amazing hair.
To be fair, we've all got amazing hair, just in different ways.
That's very true. And also joining us is the man you've just heard. It is the fantastic Andrew Rodger. He's a cinematographer. Not only has he cinematographed The Dare, but also World of Darkness, also Arthur and Merlin, Knights of Camelot, and To Dream, and recently Plebs on TV, and many, many others that I can't name. But what he does have is probably the best beard in the South. It is Andrew Rodger, everyone!
Hey.
Yay! Delayed clap, no one gives a shit.
Who? Yeah.
And finally, the guy who decided not to clap for Andy there. It is my honour to welcome my producer, Julian Kostov, who is the star of the World War II feature Another Mother's Son, Wild Bill on TV Treadstone, and the highly anticipated upcoming series on Netflix, Shadow and Bone. It is the producer of The Dare. It is the fantastic Julian Kostov, everyone!
Hey!
Slow clap for everyone.
Thanks for clapping, Andy.
I think between us, though, we do have a decent set of hair.
I know.
I am really impressed with the hair we all have.
I know. By the way, Treadstone's been out for a year, but you can watch it on Prime Video.
Thank you for plugging
Thanks
that.
for the support.
This is the Dare special. No one cares. No one cares. We are here to finally talk about The Dare. I say finally, I've talked about it for the last 3 years, but still, this is officially the release date in the UK. You can see it in the US and Canada. So we thought we'd get some of the gang together, whoever's available, who was free, to chat to you about their experiences and what they felt like when they made The Dare, which is out now. You can watch it on Sky Movies or Amazon or iTunes or Google Play.
There's no excuse not to watch it, really.
It's true. There's no excuse not to watch anything that Julian is in, because Julian is fantastic. He is actually a very good actor. And he should have been in The Dare, shouldn't you? But anyway.
Well, I was. I was a stunt double for Bart Edwards.
Exactly.
Or twice.
Yeah. Twice,
I think, yeah.
I think we had your back in it as well at another point.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call myself a stunt double, but just a double.
Yeah, because the stunt thing is too high for you. It's too, you know what I mean? Let's not elevate your position here.
No.
You're just a double. Though, to be fair, right? Let's so everyone knows, Julian's a producer, but also on the day on the movie when we were filming, a few times Julian would step in. And on this particular day was a day where we needed to spray the cast with blood, so we decided to trim it down so it was just the character of Jay, played by Bart Edwards, in the movie. But because we only had one costume and we didn't want to spray Bart down and have him soaked all day, Julian, the fantastic man that he is, stepped in.
Can I just say that I think the problem was we had limited amounts of the easily removable blood. So we had to use the not so easily removable blood.
It's so true.
Have me sprayed. I was in the shower for about an hour.
My God, that blood
which was an excuse
never comes
off
out.
work, though. It was great.
It was, but basically Julian stepped in. He was a hero. He got soaked in blood for us on the day. And maybe we'll come back to that during this talk about the dare. Who knows? But let's go back to the beginning, because let's work out why this came about, why it happened, why we're talking about it, why anyone gives a fuck about this film, The Dare.
Yeah.
So, Jonny, how did you first be approached by me? How were you first approached by me?
Are you okay, Giles? I just want to check.
No, I've been doing press all day. I've been running around and we're talking about another project, and I've literally just run up the stairs through the rain to do this.
All very grateful you're here, so don't rush. It's fine.
Thank you, Andy.
Is the vodka in that bottle, Giles?
No, there should be, though, shouldn't there?
Jonny, how did you get involved with The Dare? What was your first introduction to Giles?
Thank you.
I got an email from Giles after I'd sent him some of my other work that he really liked, and we tried to get off the ground. But it was a 4-page pitch of the very basic story of what he wanted to. So he wanted to write this movie, and it was called at the time
Welcome
to the Last Day of Your Life.
Yeah.
And I read it and thought, yeah, that sounds cool. Yes, I'll absolutely would love to write that with you. And then just gave the thumbs up, and then that was that.
Well, I knew Jonny could write because of The Nobodies. The Nobodies was such a fantastic script, and still is, and one day we will make that movie. But because we're working together on that, and I wanted to develop The Dare further than the treatment, and I was attempting to write it at the time, I wanted someone who could work with me, because I like to work that way. I prefer it. I don't like being on my own.
You're a great team player, Giles.
Thank you, Julian. So, yeah, obviously I wanted to share the love, and that's the only reason I brought you in. No, it's because you're a brilliant writer, and you could develop the project with me in the right way. How long was it, Jonny, before we had a decent first draft?
It was like a month or something, wasn't it? So we had a draft.
It was a month.
Whether it was decent or not, I don't know.
I'd say decent. I think that first draft we did might be the best. No, I'm joking.
And then the studio had nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. No, it's all right. Let's talk about the process then of writing this together. Let's just jump into that, because I love collaborating. I love going backwards and forwards and going, I'll write a bit, you write a bit, and backwards and forwards. But me and you on this one, we spent a long time on the phone or on Skype or on Zoom or whatever, chatting about it. What was your memory of that? Because technically it's now 6 years ago when we first started doing that.
I remember being uncomfortable, physically uncomfortable all the time.
Physically sick every time I spoke
to you. I just remember being physically uncomfortable because of how, like, the long-ass sessions that we had. You know, shoulders back, that kind of stuff. It was like an endurance test doing, having those long meetings. Really, at no point was I bored or sick of it, though. Always wanted and excited to get cracking with it. I mean, I was writing on holiday in Italy, as you know, like on my honeymoon, you know, wherever I could, I was involved with this process. So it was really rewarding for me, to be fair.
It was, but it was a lot of work. It was something that we didn't know would ever happen, but it did happen, and mainly thanks to Julian Kostov, the man who has joined us today. And talk us through the story, Julian, how I approached you, how you managed to get it to the studio in Bulgaria, and your process.
If we go back a little bit, I think we have to talk about how you and I met.
Please,
which I think we probably have talked about us on this podcast a few times. But maybe Andy and Jonny don't know, but Giles and I did a Panasonic commercial together as actors, or rather models. acting models, and I was the Formula One guy. So
you were the guy in a
helmet.
helmet. You had a helmet the whole time. Couldn't see his face. I was like, this guy's cool. Can't see his face. I was like, he's handsome.
But then Giles and I started talking on set, and he's like, "Hey, I'm a director. I'm a writer." So I was like, "Oh, cool. I maybe want to produce one day. I'll call you." And I think about 2 years later, I was like, "Yo, Giles." No, but we kept in touch. We did actually. And then one day, I think, I was doing a lot of work in New Bojana Studios, organizing acting classes, bringing them from LA to Bulgaria, and like I kind of co-directed a movie there and a bunch of other stuff. And so I've been working closely with Yuriv Lerner, who is our exec producer. Who is the reason we're all as well, talking right now, and who, invested in us. And we sat down, and he said, "Well, I'm looking to have a slate of horror films. Do you have any exciting young new directors, hip directors?"
And you crossed off young and went, "Well,
yeah, well,"
and then exciting.
I have hip.
And then hip. Talented, he didn't mention, so we're fine. We got away with that one.
So, and then I think we organized a meeting, and Giles pitched the dare, and I think from then on it was pretty straightforward. Well, it wasn't straightforward, but
wow, I love your memory. That's straightforward. I remember I was in Bulgaria for 3 months solid without a green light, prepping it, doing storyboards.
Yeah, true.
And we'd already cast at that point. Andy was on board, but we hadn't got the official green light. So
because the studio was so busy, wasn't it? It was booming with productions, and they couldn't fit us. So we were just waiting for the green light. You were right, for at least 3 or 4 months.
Times, didn't it? I remember being in Aldi car park, and you and Giles saying, "Oh, it's getting put back to like December or November or something." And I was like, really felt like, they were like gut punches. Those setbacks, right?
Yeah.
There were so many of those for me. I felt like there was loads of those setbacks.
Dude, now I'm remembering we had to do another rewrite because there was an exec that gave us some notes, and we were livid. But I actually think that we made the script better. Well, you guys made the script better for it.
You always make it better. Whenever someone gives you notes on a script, you're just going to make it better, regardless if you ignore them or take them on board. You still then think about what you've got to make those bits better or refresh them, right, Jonny?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure. It's certainly not easy to press stop and not try and improve a script, but sometimes you just have to let it go, don't you?
Yeah,
the amount of versions of Star Wars we've had, the original trilogy shows that even George Lucas couldn't let it go. I think, I think every time I watch the day, I think, right, well, I would have written that differently.
Do you have more CG characters in the background?
Yeah, and a clown.
But I don't think that would ever change, no matter how, there'll be Oscar-winning writers and directors who feel the same every time they watch their movie.
No, it's very true. It's very true.
But I think, Giles, that memory you're talking about, I think the first pitch meeting that we had, and then Yuriv was like, "Yeah, great, let's do it." And we thought, "Oh, okay." But then we bled for it, didn't we?
We really did. I remember you called me and said,
with good reason.
Yeah, you called me and said, if you can fly tomorrow to Bulgaria, Yariv will see you. So, and Yariv was our exec producer. Well, he wasn't at the time. He was just the exec producer of the studio. So I just flew over the next day, went to Bulgaria, pitched to him, and he went, okay, well, let me think about it. And I'm coming over to the UK in 3 months. And then pitched it to me again then. And that's when me and you went and met him and pitched again with Alex Kenanov, and pitched.
Was that in the Soho Hotel?
Yeah, that was in the Soho Hotel. And then we just did more pitching. I just feel like I didn't stop pitching. I feel like I never got the green light until we were on set from that first day filming. Yeah. That's when it felt like, oh, they're not going to pull the plug. And it's nothing to do with them. It's just how it works. It's just how the system
well, since they're financing it all and giving a lot of soft money as if, want to use that term, but, a lot of studio equipment and lots and stages. Yep. So and they have to make a buck out of having a studio, so they have to prioritize all their big movies and all the Lionsgate movies that are shooting there all the time. So, we get it. And we work together amazingly, I think, in the end that, it kind of worked out great.
You're really pleased that he took the project on board.
Who knows? But let's say yes.
I'm sure he is.
I actually sure he is. I remember when I was over in LA for the supposed premiere in March of the Dare over in the US and Canada, and I sat with Yariv and the head of Millennium Films, and the look on Yariv's face when he told us the numbers that it had done in Holland in the cinema there. I remember the look on his face, which was so happy to sit there, and his dad was across the street as well. So, and he could almost hear it, and it was just that lovely feeling. So he was very proud at that moment. Whether he likes the film or not is irrelevant. The fact is, he was very proud. So it was a nice moment to sort of have that through. So everyone's sort of proud of what we've done. We have to be for the budget and the time we've done it on. It's only taken 4 years. Andy, when do you remember me talking to you about this? Because obviously I think we'd made World of Darkness already by then. And we'd made a load of shorts and promos and ads, and then I said, look, I want to do this feature. Can you remember? I can't.
I feel like we've always been talking about this since before we met. I remember standing in your kitchen, and you made me a lovely cup of tea.
Nice.
Important detail. And just saying, and just talking about it, and you're saying, hey, maybe we're going to move on this, and you mentioned the studio, and so I think that would have been 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, it took a long time to us actually get the green light. I think officially when I told you it would have been for just 5 years. But anyway, but I mean, me and you spent quite a long time talking about how we're going to make this movie in terms of the look, the color, how we're going to shoot it, and for every setup, because we're in the basement a lot, we had a different staging, a different camera angle for each time we were in that basement when we came back to it. Do you want to talk through that a little bit?
I do. I remember it so well because it was only 4 years ago. But what I can say is
I remember it like it was 4 years ago.
Let me look at my notes. No, I remember, because that was one of my worries, was we'd be in this basement so much and it could get boring just looking at these four walls. Giles and I talked about an approach where each scene would have its own kind of staging and its own way of shooting. So one of them would be like all shot long lenses, or one of them would all be like where everything moved, and one of them was where everything was shot from outside the set. So we kind of like knocked holes through it, and one of them has this big thing where we come from outside in this big black liminal space and then come inside the room, and then the fourth wall shuts. But so it was important for us to make it still like visually interesting and have its own voice, because it would be so easy just to cover it in a very boring way.
Totally agree. And we had Top Shot as well in there. There was another one, but what's interesting on the day, I remember there was one day
you really helped the actors not be boring with all that stuff.
Yes, because we could have easily just done plonk plonk plonk, but because all four walls were quite similar looking. Oh, what did I miss?
It's like a compliment. Like the actors are very good. It gave them something to work with. But that wasn't what you meant, was it?
No, it was a joke. They're great. You're great.
Everyone's great. Of course, it was great. Of course.
Go ahead. Sorry, Jazz.
No. There was. I remember having that. I have no idea what I was saying. No idea what I was saying. I'm sure it's something amazing, intelligent. Jonny, you came on set for a little bit. What was that experience like for you?
Oh, unbelievable. One I'll never forget. And hopefully the first of a few set visits, to be fair. Which I just feel like I learned so much in terms of how to write as well, and how they... Well, no,
I learned how to write on your movie.
I mean, because you're thinking about
so many mistakes.
It's true.
Thinking about the logistics of how things can be shot, just by watching you guys work, really. So...
It's amazing the difference, isn't it? Once you go on set and see the logistics and how things actually work, you go, oh, I can't write that in. That doesn't make sense that someone just does that or picks this up, or, you're right. Someone's in the bedroom and then suddenly they'll run into the toilet and throw up or whatever. You're like, yeah, but where's the toilet? Where is it? That doesn't make sense. So it's just little things like that you learn when you're on set. You go, oh, well, that means they've got to do 3 extra shots. You need to set up the bathroom, all that kind of stuff. But we basically played a lot with this movie and did as much as we could in the 18 days we had to shoot.
Yeah. So I think you guys had a different thing every day for the basement. You had something very special for each and every day. I was very impressed with your prep, guys. Yeah,
we did. I think we really went to town on it. And basically it was my first, directing movie, and it was Andy's first studio movie. So we really wanted to make it, as special as we could.
Yeah. Half of it didn't make the cut, but it was
We brought in a new director.
Yeah, it was really
much better. Much better. Jonny, we're gonna do what we're gonna do is go and speak to Richard Brake and Harry Jarvis and Mitchell Norman in a second, actors. So, Jonny, just wrap up your experience on this movie for us.
Well, overall, the experience has been tremendously positive, but it was an emotional roller coaster for the last 4 years. Learned a lot about how the whole process works, and it's certainly not an easy one, but absolutely worth it in the end.
Delighted to have it out and released right now, aren't you?
Oh, gotcha. It feels like a weight off my shoulders, I suppose. It feels great.
Let's do the Dare 2 very soon. There is talk. Right?
There is rumors.
Hopefully, I'll talk to you about that at a different time. Yeah,
let's do it.
But I'd definitely be up.
Can't wait. Jonny Grant, thank you so much for joining us. You're a star.
Thanks, brother.
Hey, Jonny.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Take care.
So coming up for you now, you lovely, lovely people, we have actors Mitchell Norman, who starred in Giantland, and he is the fantastic young Dominic in The Dare. It is Mitchell Norman, and joining him will be Harry Jarvis, who plays the teenage Dominic, who recently starred in the Netflix smash The Night Before Christmas. He was also in Proven Innocent, High Strung Free Dance, and 2 Hours, as well as Cassette, the movie I produced, and obviously he is teen Dominic in The Dare. And joining them is the amazing, the very talented, the wonderful Credence in The Dare. He is Richard Brake. He's known for Doom, Kingsman, The Secret Service, 31, Hannibal Rising. List goes on. Obviously, he was Merlin as well in Arthur and Merlin, my film. With him, it's amazing. The amount of wonderful movies he's in, not just horror movies, but wonderful movies like The Sisters Brothers, The Death of Stalin, as well as Mandy, Perfect Skin. This list goes on. It's Richard Brake. He's a star. You know who he is. If you don't, look him up. He's brilliant. So let's welcome to the Longest Podcast Mitchell Norman, Harry Jarvis, and Richard Brake.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
How's everyone doing?
Good, buddy. I'm just unmuting everyone. 1 minute. There we go.
Hi, everyone. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello. Welcome. Mitch, it's so nice to see you.
You too,
older.
Mate.
Look at you.
So much older.
Been a very long time.
It's only 4 years.
Yeah, you can play teenage Dominic.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't need Harry. Harry can play. You can play 21-year-old.
I'm still getting used to that. That's throwing me off. That's strange.
It's been 4 years, people. Can you believe it? I'm still shocked because Richard, you didn't come for any pickups, did you? At all, Richard Brake? You didn't come for any.
I didn't. I heard about the pickups. And I thought, you guys must be writing me out of the film because it was a lot of you guys.
You were the only one who did it perfectly. We didn't have to reshoot.
I was waiting for the phone call. Really? Is that what it was? Okay.
That's what it was, yeah.
Making me feel good.
We couldn't afford you. Let's go with that. But look, it obviously it's amazing. And Harry, you came and did some pickups with us, and Mitch, you as well, and did some time. And obviously for you, Mitch, you're like, when you first started this, you were 11, right?
Yeah, ages ago now. Time flies.
I know. It must be so weird to see yourself on the behind the scenes that I've been putting up and some of the all the sort of trailers and stuff, to see yourself that small. Is it weird to sort of say to your mates, hey, I'm in this movie, but hey, it's me when I was a lot younger?
Yeah, everyone sees it on social media. They always pick up on it at school. Always say, oh, well, you look like a kid. How old are you, 6? I'm like, crazy.
It's brilliant. It's so good. So let's talk about your experience then of this, because Harry, obviously I knew you anyway through this whole situation. I know your parents and who were also producers, and it was really interesting. So what was can you remember the moment I asked you to come on board and what your feelings was on this script and this project?
I didn't even get the audition in the first place. I didn't even see it. My agents didn't send it across to me. And then you spoke to me and said, hey, I've got this really cool project called The Dare, but your agent said you're not available. And I was like, no, that's not true at all. Please send me the script. So you sent me the script across and sent me the slides. And I was like, this is an amazing script. Why have I not gone for this? Went for it straight away. And then we started working together, and I'm so glad we didn't miss the opportunity because...
Yeah. So that's the story of how you fired your agent, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
and Richard Brake as well for you, because I know we met for a coffee, myself, you and Julian, and we sat and talked about the project. obviously, you've done so many horror films. It'd be really nice to hear your take on why you wanted to do this with us, because I was over the moon that you wanted to do this. I've loved your work for so long, and it was a real pleasure to even meet you. But then when you said yes,
we were so nervous when we met you. We were like,
we really
were. Hope you like this.
I think I'm like some psycho, right? People are always scared. Like I go to Comic-Con, horror cons, and people are shaking as they come up to me. I'm like, no, I'm not like that in real life. No, man, I was because I read the script, and then before we met, all three of us met, and what I totally dug was the relationship between Creedon's character and his son, as I sort of son, and then and also the sort of backstory that's alluded to in there, and all of that. And because when I read it, and it was like eyeballs, I mean, I'm not going to give anything away to anybody who's watching and seen it yet.
There's a lot of gore in it.
There's a lot. I mean, even reading it, I was like, what the? I mean, it's insane, right? Insane.
Yeah.
Much more than anything I think I've ever done before. But the whole subplot, the whole plot between, me and Mitchell's character and Harry's character, it's like, that's really what I really dug. So then when we sat down and talked, because I thought, are these guys just going to make something that's just schlock, because I'm not a big fan of things that it's just crap, right? Just kind of horror for horror's sake, and just a lot of blood and guts. And I think right away it was clear that, both guys wanted to make something better than that, above that, take this into another level, which is what I thought was great, because I didn't want to do Hostel 7 or something like that.
Sure.
And this was not going to be that. And I think we really, when we talked about it, we were, that was a thing that I dug a lot. And of course, you being an actor at one time, do you still act, Giles? Because I've been in interviews and I'm saying, I don't know if he still is acting, but he's definitely an actor,
No, I'd say I was, I probably could still, but there's a lot of people who are better than me. Let's go there.
You're busy.
I'm busy directing.
Exactly.
Andy's better
so, and the fact, and all of that, talking about acting and talking about and knowing, and just the vibe I got off of you, as a person, was a huge plus for me. So I was like, yeah, definitely, I want to do it. I think I called my agent on the way back, and I was like, yeah, this would be great.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good, because the three of you you were my farmhouse team. You were the team that spent a lot of time in that farmhouse with me when we built it and made it an outside as well. Mitch, I remember with you, because obviously we'd cast Rob Master as Big Dominic, and I was trying to find someone who not only looked like him, but had the essence of him. And I remember looking through I was struggling to find someone. I was looking through Instagram, and I saw Craig Conway's Instagram as an actor and producer. And I saw this picture of you, and I went, oh my God, he looks just like Rob Master. Hang on, why is he on Craig Conway's thing? Hang on, he's doing a movie with Craig Conway. Oh my God, I called Craig straight away. I went, Craig, this kid you're working with, is he any good? Can he act? And Craig straight away went, he is fantastic. I went, mate, would you do me a favor and put him on tape? And he went, no, I'm busy. I'm filming.
Yeah.
Mitch, can you remember that moment?
I do, yeah. I was on the set of Giantland when that happened. And then I was in the makeup chair, and Craig came up to me, and he said he'd been on the phone. And then, it was about a week later, I must have sent a self-taping. No, it was just after I finished filming.
Yes.
Because I'd finished filming in the August, and then in the November, we went to Bulgaria. So I'd just had my summer, then I'd gone back to school. And then
we got you out of school.
Just come out of school, and then
you're welcome.
I was in Bulgaria.
Yeah, and having a great time. It was really great. Let's talk about your memories then of it, in terms of and tips for actors as well, in terms of people out there. Harry, what was your coming out to Bulgaria in a studio movie? Was it your first at the time? Because since you've done so much work, but in terms of at the time, was it your first studio movie?
I think it was, and the studios were incredible, because we shot in New Boyana, if I remember rightly, and they had sets everywhere. You'd take one step to be in New York, you'd take another, you'd be in London, you'd take another, the Colosseum was there. And when I tell people just how huge these studios were and kind of how overwhelming they were at the time, people don't quite understand it until I show them a picture of St. Paul's Cathedral built to scale. And then it's like, wow, okay, so this is like some serious stuff. But I just remember while being in Bulgaria, we shot in this, like you said, this amazing farmhouse, and everything was crumbling and falling down, and we even did a scene outside where I kick a door down and kick a door in. The set, it was really authentic and real. And I think with, me, Rich, and Mitchell, I think that was one thing that was really key in our storyline, was making sure that it felt quite claustrophobic and real, and there was no way out of this place. And so I think that's what you guys did very, very well with the directing and the filming, very well as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important for me when I work with actors, especially in something like this, is to really let's really work together and see what we can come out of this scene and really make it feel real in the moments. There was so many lovely memories I have, and I've been looking at the behind the scenes and stuff at the moment for all the promotion, and it's been so nice to see. I remember the first year I couldn't look at it. It was too traumatic. I remember it was traumatic because I was so intense at the time. Now looking back, it's a pleasure and it's a real joy. Richard Brake, when you first came to set, I'm giving your full name because you earned it.
Because he earned it.
You've earned it. You've earned it. It's full name. What was your feeling when you came to set? Because I remember the first take that I did with you and Mitch, and me and Andy had set this specific crane shot up. And I really wanted to impress you on the first day because it was our second day shooting, and I got this one crane shot and I did it in a one-up. Can you remember it? And what's your memories of that?
I do. I remember you being very, very proud of this shot. You gave me all the details. You were so excited by it. I loved it. And the funny thing is, I'm not like, because for me, I never really think about the shots that much. I'm one of those actors that I'm very into what's going on in my head and then I sort of leave all that. Whereas I know other actors that are very into, and you were describing the whole shot, and I'm like, great, and just your enthusiasm, I love it. But I was thinking, you could put the camera anywhere you want, mate. That's just
don't mind.
But it was a very cool shot. But I do have this memory too. I think we did some kind of reading or rehearsal, Mitch and I, before shooting, like a couple of days, because I got there I had 4 or 5 days before we shot my first thing. And I remember doing coming in, and we did we read some stuff, or we blocked off some things. We did something, and I remember thinking, man, this kid's good. I got up my game here. I got to make sure I'm on my game. So I had 4 days before we shot. And I was in what was once called the Kopinski, which I have no idea what the hotel is now. But you remember the Kopinski back in the old days, but whatever the hotel. So I had 4 days in that hotel, and I literally worked. I mean, I just got that. I made sure I knew my character really well so that I could be, right on it, because I knew Mitchell was a good young actor. I didn't want to get acted off the screen by him. So I'm not going to be able to. I'm gonna have to really have it all firing on this one.
That's amazing. What's your memory, Mitch, of that? Because you come into a movie set and big cameras and all that kind of stuff. I know you've done Giantland beforehand, but can you remember jumping back what that felt like for you?
Yeah, obviously it was extremely overwhelming. Being 12, being flown out to Bulgaria,
speaking American.
What was it? Yeah, the first day. We had voice coaching lessons from Rick Lipton.
Yeah, awesome.
That was scary. And then the first day of filming was freezing cold, and we were in the caravan, and then we walked in. Julian's asleep in the caravan. There's about 8 of us in the caravan.
Of course he was. He's the producer.
There was one scene where I did really well, and then we got to the end of it, and I fell over on my first scene.
You did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the first shot.
And then all of a sudden...
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You had a double for it.
Out of nowhere, I went, oh, shit. And then Julia... who was it? Yeah, it was Julian or Giles went, no, wait, we'll have a look at that. And you thought it was great, but obviously it didn't fit. But
it didn't fit. But God, I remember that now. We felt really... You had this big, long running scene. Again, I'll talk about a beautiful camera shot that I had.
Again, another scene that didn't make the cut.
Didn't make the cut. It didn't. Neither of those scenes made the cut. So yeah, we shouldn't have gone on about it enough. But I remember you ran forward. And you did it. We did it 3 or 4 times. And one of these takes, you fell and you hit your knee on a rock, and we're all just like that. Oh, God, and you were being so brave.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you wanted to cry and scream out and go, and you didn't. You were so brave, and it was amazing. And then I think you did it one more time, but again, it didn't make.
And your dad was like, "Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. He can play. He
didn't care.
He didn't care. He's all right. One day Liverpool will win the league, and it'll be fine."
I want to show a picture, by the way.
Okay, this is a picture of Mitch covered in blood with a hoodie on.
He
It's
looks
brilliant.
so adorable.
I already know this one. Look like
So
tomato.
cute and so little. Yeah, it's really nice.
That was one of the best scenes to shoot.
Yeah.
What was that scene? Talk us through that scene.
That was the one where we were. I forgot what room it was. One of the rooms.
The slaughterhouse.
And then Richard comes. Yeah, that's the one, slaughterhouse. And then Richard comes in and sprays me with blood. Oh, it was horrible.
Screams
and then
at
it was
you.
sticky. Yeah. Oh, it was a great scene. Richard performed extremely well. And then
So did
afterwards, we had to. Thank you. Afterwards, we had to go to the shower, and God knows what it was they used to make it, but shaving foam seemed to get it off. So
Yeah.
It's
like a scene from Psycho.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, covered in blood. I do remember that scene, and I remember the performances from you two was incredible. It's such a beautiful scene, which is two of you really intimate. And I remember I had to walk away because I was shedding a tear. It was so emotional in terms of the beats, and I suppose it was for me as well, the fact that it had taken so long to get to the screen, and the fact that there's this boy being tortured and, you know, abused in a way, you know, especially with the hosepipe spray down, that it really got to me. And I remember going, oh my God, and I had to walk away because I was crying. I didn't want to show you two that at the time because you two were acting in the scene. I was like, right, just walk away and have a moment.
You came to give me a hug. I remember that.
Did
no,
I?
I'm kidding.
Oh, right, okay. Wouldn't surprise me.
No, of course. We were hugging every day and dancing. It was crazy.
Yeah. We had to hang you upside down, Richard Brake, giving you the full name because you've earned it. In this movie. You've been hung upside down and you've been tortured, and there's all sorts of stuff happened to you in movies. And I remember I was really worried about doing this with you because I thought, we've got to hang him upside down for a while. He's got to go into a scolding chamber. Oh gosh. And you were so brilliant. You were such a professional. You went, yeah, no problem, I can do this. And how did it feel for you to do something like that? And you know, these emotional scenes within something that is, you know, like you say, not a B movie that could have been, that we wanted to make quite real.
Well, I think I remember that hanging thing. That was tough. That was a tough day, but you know, that's such an important part to the film, you know, how you know, what happens to him at the end. You go back to the scene where going back to the scene where I squirted Mitch with the blood and, you know, doing that and the intimacy of that scene. And then, you know, all of those moments, it was those moments that just drew me to it to begin with. And then the way that we really were able to bring that out as we filmed, and you gave us the space and time to do that. We talked through it. You know, we developed a relationship, you know, all three of, you know, both of my versions of my son and myself. And, you know, that's what, when we were shooting those things and those moments together, it was, you could tell it was just that it was the cut above, you know, and that's what I loved about it. I loved about reading it when I read it. I loved about it when we talked about it in that coffee place, in that hotel, and when we filmed it. You know, especially when we filmed it, because I knew that it was coming, you know, it was coming to fruition, that we were finding those moments and we were making something beyond just, you know, just a typical horror. You know, we were putting a little bit of something extra into it, which kudos to the other two and for, you know, all their great work.
Absolutely. And on that, I suppose, thinking about working with directors from an actor's point of view, you three, what are the best ways directors should work with actors? What are some tips you've learned along the way that help you? It'd be really nice. Richard, let's start with you.
Stay the fuck away from me. No, I'm kidding. I think one of the big things, I mean, I could say the very specific stuff, like, you know, I like it when they give you a lot of space to do your own work or to bring your own stuff to it. They're not too didactic and they don't say, stand there, say it like this. I mean, that drives me nuts. And I've been lucky. I haven't had a lot of that. But what I think is, you know, what I really like is when they have so much enthusiasm and joy for the project they're working on, and creativity is just oozing out of them. You know, I work with Rob Zombie a lot, and people say, "Oh, well, you know, why do you work with him?" And it's one of the biggest reasons is the man is like a funnel of creativity. And I say that about you too. You can really feel it just coming out of you, and so that inspires me to be as creative as I can be. So it's directors that are just so embroiled in the project that it's just oozing out of them. You know, ideas are coming and all the time, even while you're doing it, you know, after a second take, like, oh, why don't we try this and try that? And you just feel their own love and joy for the project and enthusiasm that you can't help but become infected with it. And I think that's very, very important.
That's brilliant.
For
brilliant
me, with a director. Yeah.
Love that. Harry?
Yeah, I think that's obviously a great point. And I think building on that, once you have that creativity, it's great when you have a director who kind of wants to share that with you and see what you can add to their vision. There's nothing worse than having a director who has that vision and then decides only they can see what it is, and then that's when you get the typical line reads, read it like this. That's when you get the stand here, one tear out the left eye, that kind of vision that only they have. Whereas when they have that vision and they allow an actor to come on board and say, well, what else can you bring to this? What haven't I seen? This is how I'm seeing it, but there are different variables that we can work towards it in that way. And then it becomes like a collaboration between the actor and the director. And that's when I've always found, like with you and directors who have worked as actors before, that's where it works so well, because they understand that's alongside their vision.
That's great. Great answer, Harry. Thank you. Mitch, what about your side? What have you learned, and what advice and anything you could give to actors out there, young actors who are making a movie like this?
Obviously, the first bit of advice I could give is enjoy yourself, because being on set is such an amazing thing, working with amazing people in a tight-knit group trying to achieve the same goal at the end of the day. It's really important to enjoy yourself, but I think you've got to carry yourself professionally as well to try and achieve that goal. Obviously, all you've got to do is look at Richard. I'm sure I drove you mad being 12, asking you questions, what time's lunch, stupid questions like that. And then you turn around, you got Richard in his chair, always focused, always on set. So I thought, if I've got to act alongside him, I've got to try and perform like him, because he was a consummate professional.
Wow, what a lovely answer. Richard Brake, do you remember that? Do you remember?
Asking what time lunch is.
And you're like, I don't know.
But Mitch, you're absolutely right. Being professional it's incredibly important. And also for the director to be a professional. One thing I've been lucky again. I've not really had too much experience of the type of director that's, diva-ish, or it's just a pain in the ass, or it's unpleasant to other actors or crew members, and definitely, obviously actors most definitely shouldn't be like that. And I think, back again, going back to yourself and Rob Zombie, and pretty much all the directors I've worked with, they just have this, on top of that creativity thing I was going on about earlier, is just underneath it is also just a real level of professionalism. I think, nowadays there's so much, I think especially with young actors, there's so much of this idea of, I got to be moody and difficult, and I've got, wear a beanie and mumble and just be a pain in the ass. And I think that's the bad road to go down. I really do, without sounding like an old man, lecturing any young people that might be watching it. I really think, I've never seen anybody like that in the real world who's done well.
Yep.
I've really never. I've seen them once, and Googled them again, 2 years later, and they're working at Starbucks.
Absolutely, that's so right. And it's so important. I think you've all touched properly the nail on the head there with the professionalism. I think it goes across the board.
Really
the more you can be professional on set, the more you'll work, the better you'll be, the more you'll learn. People want to work.
People want to work. Yeah, there you go. We just exactly. Yeah. People want to work with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Honestly, really appreciate it. I'm so proud of all your work in the Dare. Honestly, it's amazing. You should be proud too. And fantastic. We've got it out finally in the UK. Thank you, guys.
Finally. It's a pleasure to work with everyone.
Thanks, Giles.
It was.
Brilliant.
Love you guys. Take care.
Take care. Cheers, guys.
Take
Bye.
Care.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.
So joining us now, some more wonderful stars of the Dare. It is my basement crew, or the basement story crew. It is Bart Edwards, who plays pretty much the lead role of Jay Jackson, and he starred in The Witcher recently, Unreal, State of Happiness, Peep Show, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, as well as Young One Under, which has just gone on TV now, and The Singapore Grip, as well as, obviously, The Dare. And then, of course, we have the wonderful Alexandra Evans, who plays Kat in The Dare. She starred in London Fields, Love Type D, as well as Dragons of Camelot, Soho Cigarette, and Redistributors. Richard Short, who has starred in Arthur and Merlin recently as my King Arthur. But he starred in some amazing TV and films, including Mary Kills People, Code Black, Time After Time, Training Day, Vinyl, Agent Carter, Covert Affairs, 666 Park Avenue. And the films he's done is Cafe, Choose, Public Enemies, New York Love Story, Crazy Famous. And he's just finished filming Macbeth, Joel Coen's Macbeth, starring Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand. Richard Short as Adam Hines is joining us, as well as the lovely Deborah Wilde, who plays Jess in the movie, which is Jay's wife. Has a very pivotal role in the film, beginning and end, and a little bit in the middle as well. But she starred recently in Stolen Life, Hollyoaks, Happy Epidemic. Films include Indulgence, False Witness, The Tombs, Misrule, and, of course, The Dare. So, this is Bart Edwards, Richard Short, Alexandra Evans, Deborah Wilde, myself, Julian Kostov, our producer, and Andrew Rodger, the cinematographer. Hello.
Hi. Wait, let me put my video on.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Very good.
Look so glam.
Oh, we're going out in a minute.
So
look amazing.
Glam.
So good.
Thank you.
Hi.
Richard.
Thank you.
Richard, you do look good. Holy moly.
I mean, it's the Perrier.
It's,
Shaved.
shaved and everything. I'm just so used to seeing you with blood on. It's kind of nice, isn't it?
Fair enough. Enough about our personal life.
Hey!
Hey!
Hey, it's a reunion. Yay!
Everyone looks lovely. How is everybody?
Bart's here.
Hey! Wow, he's so well
Yeah,
lit.
they've got like a light on you.
Yeah. In
What
a
is
basement.
happening
I
right
went
now?
full method for this. Yeah, it's just a little light up there, Get rid of the... Do you guys not travel with your softboxes? That's very odd.
Yeah, it's just a softbox. He's got full
Always.
softbox
You never know
in
when you
front of
need
him.
it, right? You never know.
I think Andy wins the best room for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
All of
it's
that behind you.
one of those fake backgrounds.
Fake.
So look, obviously we're here to talk about The Dare because it's released today, though it's technically tomorrow. But how cool is that? Yay!
Yay!
It's only taken 4 years from when we first pretty much stepped on set. It was November the 16th, I think, was when we stepped on set for the first time 4 years ago.
Wow.
And we stepped on set many times after that. Every Christmas, some might say.
Yeah, once a year.
Every Christmas, especially for some of us.
Guys, I'm sorry. We're not going to do this Christmas.
Oh, it's sad, right?
There's still time. I could still do it. We could still go back and do pickups. We haven't released in Iceland yet, so we could do a different version for them. Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Fuck it. So I suppose let's jump back and talk about our first memories of this movie and what we remember from this. Because from my side, I had the best time with you lot. I loved working with you all, and I really did. I don't think we'd be doing this now if we hadn't all got on. So for me, it was one of the best highlights of my life. I'll always remember it, and I'll always remember you. So it's true, though. I mean, I'm
just sorry for you. It's okay. It's fine.
Fair enough. I mean, fair enough. It's what I said. One of them. I didn't say the. So okay, not so bad. So I suppose let's just jump in and say what we remember from this shoot. And
Daniel Schutzman isn't here, so clearly he didn't have quite as good a time.
He's my brother-in-law, so it's not as a big a deal. So
he just doesn't like you for other reasons.
So he clearly doesn't.
Nothing to do with the film, right?
Nothing to do with the film. Basically, all right. Let's talk about Daniel Schutzman because he isn't here, and he is fantastic in the film. He's basically his mouth sewn up for the whole movie, so he couldn't speak. I mean, the poor guy, right? Mouth sewn up. Had to drink out of a straw if he was lucky.
He could smoke loads, though. He kept I would roll him cigarettes, and obviously he couldn't lick the paper to do it, so I would lick his cigarettes, and I just quit. And I loved it because I'd be like, I'm licking the cigarette, shaking, I wish I could smoke it, and then putting it in the weird breathing hole he had in his weird prosthetic mouth.
This could not happen in 2020, though.
Yeah, literally.
So many euphemisms there. I can't even. No, we'll just have a look there.
It's like being back again. You were all filthy all the time.
So, can you remember the first time you all met? Can you remember that feeling? Because we had a rehearsal in. I think the first time you all met was in Bulgaria,
we
right?
rehearsed in that little office room, didn't we?
That first bit of rehearsal was amazing. It was really fun for me to watch you guys all work together.
Well, I remember we did a really lovely read through, and then I think me and Danny had to leave for like 2 weeks whilst Bart was doing a lot of stuff with just you guys. So then we came back into it, and like you were all like in the zone, and we just were thrown into the basement, and then we had lots of like it was just great because you guys were like really there, and then the minute we came in, it was just like, you're here. This is the situation, and it was very real. The set was very realistic. I was very grazed and cut, and
you were. Yeah. Let's talk about the set then, because you guys were in a basement for a long time. Like literally the whole time you were filming, you were in that basement, and a lot of you were chained up. In fact, you were all chained up, and sometimes we didn't find the key when we were having a lunch break or whatever for you to get out. Let's talk about that, your time in that basement and how it felt. Let's start with you, Bart.
Well, I'd say a testament to the people that built it is that I was thinking about this yesterday, was the habitants of which we had to live in for so long had such an effect on my brain personally. I don't know if it did you guys, that I think that's why we did bond so hard and party to an extent that was incredibly enjoyable. But I think it's because it was so oppressive, the space that we had to spend most of our days in. So, and I mean, you know exactly what it did to me. It made me basically shit myself for a month. It really had an effect on my brain and my soul. And yeah, I thought I'd just bring it up now because then no one else can fuck me over later.
Yeah. I had that up nicely.
So I'd say the set itself, with it having such an effect on my brain, is why I needed to just kind of release, you know, in an evening, have a drink or two. I think it was incredibly built, and I think it has a great effect on the movie.
Alex, what it felt to you as an actor to suddenly be tied up and not being able to move, and the whole build-up, I suppose.
I don't know. I kind of really liked it because you kind of had to really think within like your limitations, and we knew that every shot was going to be like, you could only move this far, you can only go to this distance, and you can stand up or sit down, and how's that going to be different to the next shot, because it's all, you know, one after the other, and that could be quite boring. So that was quite fun. It was very, very depressing though. It was so cold. I mean, it snowed for the whole time we were there, and we were in a huge warehouse with this set built inside it, so there was like no heating, and all of us were in like summer outfits, and it made it miserable. And I guess in a way it really helped like the performance a lot. We were supposed to be miserable.
Totally. And you did all get cut up, and you did all go for it. And that's what I really loved about working with you guys, is because you all did get stuck in. You all just went, I've got to go for this. There's no point in doing it half-assed. And it was just fantastic. And I suppose taking Danny's lead, because he had no choice. He's now got scars and blood all over him and mouth sewn up. He is there. He's doing it. He's in the moment. Naked, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like you said, a lot of the time we were just chained in between takes too, so it wasn't really go to craft services table or anything like that kind of job, but it was just easier to sit in the corner of the whole time. But there was a very definite sense of that was the stage, right? So you went in, the walls were literally closed in around us. A couple of them were movable, movie magic ruined there, but most of the time they weren't. Most of the time they were locked in, and it was actually very helpful for acting, I think, truthfully, because you were in there and that was go time, and then once we left there, it was a totally separate world. But I concur with what Alex just said, which is you wanted to make it visually interesting as well, because your entire movie is being locked in the same corner. So you do one take leaning on your right arm, one take, you know, with your left leg up on the wall, thinking things like that. Like making notes in your script. What should I do in this bit? I'll have my mouth half open. Or I'll have my forehead leaning on this bit of the wall.
Good character choice.
It's just something different. But it's a really interesting psychological test to act with the same props or lack of props, which is basically no props, locked in the same corner and never moving from within a sort of 5-foot space. And I know we had great fun, but then apparently my wife tells me I was having horrible, shaky nightmares when I came back.
I had nightmares for months afterwards. Just waking up in the middle of the night. Still haven't. Thinking that we should be shooting now. I was literally telling my missus, move out the way, I've got to get the camera in. Screaming out loud at the top of my voice. So I think it was, like I say, it was traumatic, but it was wonderful at the same time. Deborah, you came down into the basement for a scene that then was essentially cut because it didn't. It did make it to the final movie, actually. So what was your experience of that? Because most of your scenes were in the house itself.
I was about to say that it was the funniest thing for me because obviously you guys had already been in there for quite a long time. And I arrive, no blood, fresh face, like glam. That was my like look. And I was like, hey guys, it's my first day. I'm so excited. And literally like Giles was okay. Like I think you were just about holding it together by that point.
Yep.
But everyone else was kind of a bit like, they just looked a bit, they had like that dead kind of like look. And I was like I'm so excited. La, 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 la. And I was like, what's up? But then I saw the situation and I understood.
Yeah.
And felt a little bit bad because in between takes I was getting my my hair like freshed up and like my makeup and and everyone else was getting like more blood, more cuts, more whatever, and everyone just looked so, everything just looked so like damp and just like all the like real cuts, when they when the blood dries up and it was I was quite happy not to be in there. Why?
Well, and interesting, you talk about how, because some of those cuts look so real, and sometimes they were real, and you just went with what was real with your knees, Alex, or whatever you had, Bart, and Richard, God knows what you had. But I think all that makes it. Yeah.
Oh God, they shaved your head, didn't they?
I shaved. Chunks. Richard said I actually shaved a bit.
Was
of
that
Richard's
you?
Hair. I did some of it, and I really enjoyed it. It was a real pleasurable moment for me.
We took little chunks out of it.
Yeah. Because me and Richard go way back. We did a play together like 20 years ago, and so we were able to do that to each other. I suppose you haven't done.
And
it
he's
to
always
me
wanted to shave chunks out of my head.
It was something. It was like a weird passion, man. But no. So you guys had all this stuff going on, but yet there's all this. There's gore to do as well. There's eyeballs to pull out, and there's cockroaches to eat, and there's hands to be nailed to walls. As an actor, how was that? Bart, let's start with you, because you were the screaming the most. You're dealing with it. You're coming into this fresh in terms of your character. How was that for you?
Well, it was like a weird drug. I don't know if you guys found this. It's because
ayahuasca.
Yeah, it was like ayahuasca. No, we all knew that we had a very kind of slim amount of time to film a very intense movie. And from my point of view, I was coming into it relatively fresh. I hadn't done a feature like this before. And being able to spend the time, actually from what Alex was saying earlier, from where we rehearsed in that little office space upstairs to then being, after doing the stag do, which obviously isn't in the movie, maybe it'll make its way to public viewing one day, straight into the basement, it became this weird mental race to work out how much pain you're in, kind of. And again, which bit of your head you want to put on the side? How do I make this essence of emptiness seem interesting? And then just going for it. I mean, it was just stupid amounts of fun. Like rarely do you get to have nails put through and generally crucified, that kind of stuff. So I just found it. At the time, I think you just go to bed like jolting a little bit, but it was in essence just incredible fun, and I loved it.
What's the best way to deal with that then as an actor now, looking back? Would you have done something different, or moving forward, if you have to do another movie like that, what advice would you give to people to do? I think
at the time I didn't really know what
you were getting yourself in for.
What I was getting myself in for. No, how to like every take was the one I wanted it to be the most energetic take in the world. I don't think at that point I knew how to pace myself slightly. So at the end of every day, you really did feel like you run a tiny mental and physical marathon. Do you guys feel that?
100%. I think it really helped that we shot it in chronological order. So like it started off like not so bad, and then it got worse and worse and worse and worse. So like that, I feel like that helped me be like, okay, now I'm in even more pain today, even more pain the next day, and more blood. And Richard, by the end of it, you were more blood than person. Like you can even see your face.
You were a dummy.
More blood. By the end, he was a dummy. Yes,
man. Just like the camaraderie with us all by the end. I mean, at the end, I did feel a little, and this isn't to say that everyone was horrible. I felt a bit depressed by the end because the subject matter of what we were doing is fucking awful.
Well, I know that we were somewhat relentless in our haranguing of you too, right? And that's because of the characters as well. Like the whole time we're locked in that room and we're telling Jay to shut up and where to go, etc. Alex and I especially, because Daniel had his mouth sewn up. I've never been so nasty. Truthfully, I mean, Adam Hines, that character, is a bit of a bastard, you know. I've never been like that.
No, and what's interesting, all the characters are arseholes, and me and Jonny wrote it that way, that you all arseholes. And I wanted it to be, I didn't want the audience to be, oh, these guys are, yeah, let's root for them, let's get them out. I kind of wanted to root for them a bit, but also you were playing them exactly right, which must have been fun to
You're
play.
right, what you know, right?
Yeah, right. What you know.
I just remembered, Giles. There were a few moments because of camera, Andy, where you were shooting from outside without anyone at all being in there, right? Just literally just the four of us, or perhaps the three of us, because maybe Dan was a dummy at that point. Yeah. But those moments were spectacular. I mean, that was like just doing, like we said often, it was like doing a play, like being on stage. Yeah, it really was.
It's being adapted,
no artifice
correct?
At all.
Yes, it's been adapted to a musical, actually.
A musical,
The Dare, the musical. But you know, I like to work that way. I like, obviously coming from the acting background, I like to work it as a play. Let's do as much of the scene as we can. So therefore, when you're in that moment and you're not having to stop for a relight, stop for this. So Andy would light it all in one go. So we could go, right, let's place these cameras here, here, and here. All right, I want you to do the whole scene. Therefore, you would feel it, right? You'd be in the moment. Is that a better way to work rather than being bitty?
Definitely for this. Sure. I thought it was invaluable. Again, us being able to do it in the little office space, try stuff out, and it was we just had nothing there. You had to at least find some kind of structure for us to be able to work out how to work in this sandbox.
I think it helps that you're an actor as well, Giles, because you understand how to direct actors being an actor. You know, sometimes you work with directors who've never done it and they're very removed and they're just like, do it like this, but better. And you're like, oh God, how do I replicate what they've just shown me, but better? Whereas you could really like talk to us in a way that we were like, oh yeah, he gets it. Like, and that was really lovely.
And talk and on that then, in terms of advice for actors working with directors and working on set, what are the best things that directors should do? What should actors do on sets? 2 questions in one. Richard, start with you.
Should read the script.
What the director should or the actor should?
All of it. Right. All of it. No, I think I mentioned this to you when we were discussing King Arthur. Was
which is out now on Sky Movies.
Which is out now on Sky Movies and other outlets. No, I think when there's a table read on offer, and if it's a struggle for you to get there, just try and make it. It's the same with doing these rehearsals in this little office at Ljubljana in Bulgaria. Because if you can just look at each other briefly before you go to camera, if you can hear each other's voice, for me, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of all actors in here, is that it gets rid of some of the anxiety, which is 50% of the battle for us, right? That you show up and you're nervous and that never goes away. You just learn to hide it, right? That's all, but it's always there. So I think be present for the rehearsals and for the table read. It's utterly invaluable for me. And then by the time we get to set, just ready to go to work.
I mean, I guess all I can do is continue on from that, is that give them the space to play at first, which is what you gave us, and then kind of just hone it in to the direction that you want to. And I guess, again, we were just lucky enough for all of us to be there the whole time. No one was rushing off anywhere else. We were all in the same hotel. We were able to bring up issues when they arose, depending on if something didn't feel right, or if you'd screamed too much, or if you needed to lie down for a little bit because you felt ill. And it was a joy working with you and Andy, in fact, being able to, looking at it from the way that I was looking at it then, which was all very new and very fresh. I felt incredibly safe. I felt like I could try things out. And I mean, in the genre we were making, that is somewhere you really need to feel like that, because you really need to push it way past where you normally do with other genres.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it, Alex? When you're doing a horror as opposed to a drama, your performance has to be up there. You have to be, when you're in that mode where you're being tortured or you're being in pain or whatever. It's a different level, right? Doing a horror to a normal feature.
Yeah, I really feel like if you're doing a horror film and somebody is torturing you, you just have to commit to that, don't you? Because I think you look more stupid if you're like, ow, it hurts. Like, that's going to look shit, isn't it? So it's you just really have to go for it. And I feel like, you know, we were in a very safe place with you guys. We didn't feel like we had like a huge audience and everybody judging us. Like half of the time, like you guys weren't even like in the room. It would just be like just Andy with the camera, and everybody else would be like behind these four walls, and then we could just like do whatever we wanted. And yeah, like the others were saying, you know, you gave us loads of free reign, and if it was like a tweak or something, you'd come in, like sit us aside, and it wasn't like, you're shit, do better. You'd come in and be like, so like, what do you think this bit is? And you'd ask us and make us think about it to get to the answer, which I think is nicer than sort of being like just telling us what you wanted. You get a different result.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, you do.
I felt like there was a really nice balance of everything feeling very controlled, and you knew exactly the shots you wanted to get, alongside it feeling that kind of exciting maverick style of like, actually, I've just had this idea. Do you fancy doing this? It wasn't necessarily on the call sheet of what I had yesterday, but right now, do you mind doing it? And I think that's a really nice place to be in something where everybody has to live in the same world. Like, just jump in and give it.
Yeah, really interesting. Deborah, from your side, you're working with young kids as well, and you're working with Bart in the house as the family parent. Now, I like to do takes where I don't cut sometimes, and Andy knows this, where I'll just go, I don't cut, I want to go again straight away, and I'll come and whisper stuff to you guys and move the scene forward that way. What do you I suppose, what's your memory of, because you came back the second year as well, Deborah, to you know, which we nicely made your role, your part. The mum was back, you know.
Well, it changed so much, the character from the initial idea to what it eventually ended up being. It just grew and grew and grew, which was lovely for me. And really establishing that family dynamic. And the kids were awesome. And it was just hilarious how much they grew the second time we saw them. Me and Bart were like, whoa, we have actually this. I never met him.
He's lovely, but he's grown massively now. But the two girls who played your daughters, it was a year later, and at that age, they were like 6 and 7. They're like they're 8 and 9. You're like, oh my god, are they going to look totally different? You totally get away with it in the film, but they'd grown a lot.
Well, we've got the same picture of me and Bart and the two girls in like a family pose, and then a year later, and it's quite funny. But they were so like dedicated to, and it felt like so real. I think we kind of played around with a few different ideas, but it felt really real. And you're totally right. We had that really like sort of intimate rehearsal with you, Giles, and then I think it kind of all felt very natural to me.
Yeah, totally. I think God, it's amazing that the memories just keep coming back when you talk and stuff and you find things. Hello everyone, it is Giles. I am jumping in here to tell you this is a two-parter. It's 4 a.m, I'm still editing, and I thought I need to get this out. So, this is it. This is part 1. We're going to pick it up with part 2 with Deborah, with Alex, with Richard, with Bart, myself, Julian, and Andy. And we're going to be joined in the final section by the fantastic Rob Marser. He plays the fantastic, the dark, the scary, the masked villain of Dominic in The Dare, and he talks all about that, all about mask work, how you can get inside a character through the mask, and what it's like to play a villain, what it's like to play a baddie. He also talks to you about what it was like working with Christopher McQuarrie on Mission Impossible and Sam Mendes on 1917. All that to come for you on the bonus episode on Friday of part 2 of this Filmmakers Podcast, The Dare Special. So in the meantime, do go watch The Dare, do go support if you can. I'd love that, it'd mean the world to me. And if you like it, do write a lovely review on Amazon or on iTunes or on Sky. Honestly, I'll do all 3. Why not? Support indie films as much as you can and support us. You're listening to this, so do what you can. Thank you so much. Go to our Twitter at The Dare Movie, follow us there, retweet our stuff, or me at Giles Alderson, or the podcast at Filmmakers Pod. We will see you on Friday for part 2, and in the meantime, do go do something to go make your film. Make it happen. Be inspired by this. If I can do it, you can do it. Believe in yourselves and get out there and make your film. Until Friday, I'll see you then. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.